Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for chapters 2 and 3 of Nisioisin's new series, Cipher Academy. So when we last left our heroes, we were introduced to the Cipher Academy, a warmongering, code-breaking military school, and our hero, Iroha Irohazaka, who is not much of a code-breaker himself. He's also like the only guy in the cast, which we'll see what comes of that. Either like in a harem sense or in a genuine exploration of gender sense. We're introduced to Kogoe, who is given him this tool that allows him to be much like, it gives him like a single hint as to how to solve a puzzle. The rest of it really is all him, and there's some pretty impressive stuff going on in his puzzle solving that makes me kind of question the idea that he's some novice at this. Toshasai, a more antagonistic character, she's got a lot of like an early Satsuki Kiryuin vibe, and her two little flunkies. There's like a war for cryptocurrency going on at the bedrock of this school, which I'm not quite sure if there's any real thought going into that, or if it's just like cryptogram, cryptography, and cryptocurrency or something. I don't know. Either way, a lot of things that could be interesting here, or things that could be a train wreck. Either way, I doubt it will be boring. So with that said, let's dive right on into Chapter 2, Can't Solve Puzzles on an Empty Stomach. We have a color cover here of Iroha and Kogoe, which I think is meant to be... I recognize dots and dashes on Kogoe's shirt as being Morse code, and that might be a sort of like the translation of Iroha's shirt being in traditional letters, and then you see the Morse for that on the other side. Yeah, because I know S is the 3 dots, right? Because SOS is 3 dot, 3 dash, 3 dots, which would fit with where things line up on Iroha and Kogoe's shirts. That is the only bit of Morse code I know. I know S, O, and S. That's about it. Anyway, which, yeah, ties into Puzzle 3, Cipher Academy's famous Morse code meal ticket machine, free of charge. Gee, I'd like to have udon noodles today. We see the orders are like entirely written in Morse code. So you just have to know Morse code to get your lunch, I guess. But he's starting to panic. You know, Iroha's starting to panic. Not knowing which of those are the udon noodles. And the line behind him is getting mad. If only I didn't have this long line behind me. And he gets his food that I don't think is udon noodles. It looks like pork and rice, I think. And he goes to his seat, sighing. The day has passed since my code battle with villain girl Toshasai-san. But for me, Class 1A's Iroha Irohazaka, my school life hasn't really changed. I wonder if that girl is safe now. Class 1M's Kogoe Horigatoge. And I need to return these strange high-tech glasses. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be doing that, bro. That's sort of your whole thing, is those glasses. And he looks over, and he sees Kogoe just casually eating with, like, this giant, like, cartoon tongue. Some, like, cotton candy. And Iroha, like, covers Kogoe with his shirt. I think in a sort of, like, you know, thinking that she's still in hiding. Whoa! Who turned out the light? Is it the end of the world? And I guess this is sort of we see the menu now of the food. I'm not quite sure why that's relevant. Iroha is sort of concerned about Kogoe, as Kogoe tells him, "Tee-hee-hee, you don't need to worry, Iroha. That villain girl is very serious about her lessons. I can't say this too loudly, but I'm relatively safe until classes end." And Iroha sort of moves on. I told you. I'm not going to ask why you're being chased, so I won't, but what in the world are these glasses? I mean, they save my skin, but it's like I'm cheating. I feel rotten about it. And now that villain girl has her eye on me, at least give me some clues to what's going on so I can defend myself. I already feel out of place as the only boy in class. Getting bullied is just going to make things harder. But Kogoe tells him, I can't talk about that until after class. Iroha, hold out your hand. Yeah. Hold out your hand a second. Not your dominant hand. And Iroha's confused at that. But Kogoe draws our fourth puzzle on his left palm. a difficulty of 3. I have no idea what it's supposed to be at all. And Kogoe tells him, go to that place after class. You won't be bullied there. This puzzle's a pushover. Which, like, I mean, with the glasses, everything's a pushover, I think. But Iroha goes back to class thinking, she ended up giving me the slip. And in the end, I failed to give back the glasses. What do I do? I wanted to check out the extracurricular clubs too, but that homework she left me is another pain. And he approaches Toshasai, who has left out a whole slew of, I think they're pens and maybe some giant uber sharp pencils across her desk. And I guess I can just go up to Toshasai-san and beg for mercy. And Toshasai is sort of, I think, mocking him with the sort of thing that the glasses said last chapter. Master, how do you do? Why not sit your butt down? Like, that is sort of that's absolutely a barb right there. I'll be here, on guard for you. And Iroha tells her, thanks, you're so dependable, Toshasai-san. Well, I'd better go and see Kogoe-chan after class, because if I don't, I won't be signing up for any clubs. I'll be signing my will. So the gist is that, like, you know, he's safe in class while Toshasai is focused on her studies, but Toshasai has no intention on honoring, not like there's anything to honor in the whole maidservant shit from last chapter. Without that place where he won't be bullied, he's kind of fucked. Anyway, that said, I've got no idea about this code diagram. As he's like sat down and is looking at the clue, I couldn't even tell Udon and Katsudon apart in Morse code. Oh, so Katsudon was what he got instead of Udon. But he suddenly feels something. What the? I feel an odd sensation on my back. No way. Have I been stabbed in class? I don't think you're in that much danger. No, that's not it. It's a finger? Is Toshasai-san writing a message on my back with her finger? What's she writing? Is this some kind of back-channel method for delivering messages? I hope she's not writing insults, but, And Toshasai questions, you can't see the blackboard without your glasses on, can you? Oh, because he claimed not to be able to see the small print. It's an inconsistency in his narrative. And Iroha sort of realizes exactly that, flashing back to the previous chapter. I have trouble reading small print. And he notes, that's right, the glasses. And like he feels in his breast pocket it's not there. Where'd I put them? Oh, on my head? And I guess they were. They clearly weren't there at that first panel of the page. But we see Yukiko and Tayu, I think were their names, getting suspicious about this whole situation, waiting to see if Iroha breaks. Here they are, and he puts them over his eyes, and we see over the diagram on his palm, a grid appears, which will presumably give him some clue. They're automatically working again. Grid lines? I didn't think there was a pattern, but from this perspective, every square grid contains a line. Well, almost. There's one right there in the middle, like near the middle that doesn't. Wait, but of the 16 squares, there's one with nothing in it. Is this a 15 square puzzle? Oh, it's one of those sliding things I was never any good at. I know what it is. I've seen this sort of thing before. I'm just no good at it. Of course. Seen in 3 dimensions, it's obvious. It's not that there's no line in the square. The space is empty. I've definitely done these sorts of slide puzzles before. On my smartphone, though. Again, sort of establishing a little bit of what we saw with the crossword puzzle last chapter. That a lot of the puzzles they're doing feel like they're part of the past. Which is an interesting little note there. But Iroha gets distracted with the puzzle. This should be elementary. And And he eventually solves it. We see time passes from like 1:15 to like 2:45. But Iroha says, I did it, but it took me 6 hours, which is weird. I thought it was like lunchtime when he got the puzzle. So it only seems to have been like a few hours, which still is a lot. But then he looks at it. Is this the English letter M? Oh, like Class M is the place. I thought the code was supposed to reveal a location. M? Class M? Does that class even exist? Which I guess kind of ties back to Iroha's sort of confusion at just how many classes were at this school, but it's weird that he's already forgotten that Class M is Iroha's class. I really should have gotten more info in the cafeteria when I had the chance, but I was just so full and preoccupied at the time. And then he realizes, oh, 2B. Okay, he ends up going to 2B. But like, there literally is a Class M. That was literally brought up last chapter. But okay. So, Iroha over in Class 2B, talking to Kogoe, mentions the letter M in Morse code is da-da. Da is su in Japanese, which sounds like the English 2. In other words, 2-2, which could be read as 2-2. Meaning the correct answer is Year 2, Class B, right? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Again, like, I don't know, this idea that the beginning of the pilot brings up that Iroha is some average person when it comes to puzzles and doesn't really know anything is wild to me, because he's really good at it. Like, every time he takes that little bit of help from the glasses, all the glasses did was show him a grid, and then he gets all of this out of it. A dash is the same as the kanji for the number 1. So dash dash could also be interpreted with kanji numerals as 1-1. But class 1A is my class, the starting point. So that can't be it. Okay. I mean, sure, I suppose that works. Kogoe tells him, nice ice-cold reading. Brilliant work, Iroha Irahazaka. And again, despite the way he brushes off it being in Class M, because are there even that many classes, we're reminded that Kogoe is in Class 1M. Though she's also number 0 in her class, which is an interesting little tidbit. Born June 7th, okay. I don't know, that was an interesting little bit, the number 0. Anyway, Iroha comments, it might have been a blind spot, but coming here was elementary. Since this is a newly established school, the classrooms for higher grades aren't being used yet. Oh, okay, I guess this isn't... I think the fact this is a new school is not already known information. I don't think we knew that. The classrooms for higher grades aren't being used yet. That said, it feels weird here. Is this Class 1M's room? And... oh, so there aren't actually a full M. The building isn't really designed for that. They have to use what will eventually be the second-year classrooms. But Kogoe tells him, we'll talk about the metaverse where Class 1M exists once we're a bit better acquainted. By the way, Iroha, hold on, the metaverse... I'm putting that in conversation with Kogoe's line about cryptocurrency and just sort of all the ways she seems to be like something of almost like a tech bro in the sort of interest she has. I don't know. It's an interesting little bit there. By the way, Iroha, did you do your homework? The one that's not a code? I did. Now that was not elementary at all. But I'm the type of person who does their assigned homework. I asked every one of my classmates why they enrolled at this school. Was that assigned by the teacher, or was this like a Kogoe task? And we get every single one of our classmates, who are all sort of, I'm gonna take a minute to talk about a lot of their character designs, because some of them are pretty normal. This Kakane Karigane just comments, because I like solving puzzles. My dream is to become a first-rate codebreaker. Like, these first three are all pretty normal. Harakiri Bodayama is also just like a pretty normal girl. Huh? It's my duty as a citizen, isn't it? Ransaroto Hahakora. Why? My family's been in the military for generations, so... Which, those latter two sort of tie into the kind of militarism at the heart of this world, and it still remains to be seen if the series is sort of on board with or pushing back against. Ensa Kasari, similarly, we're getting to a bit more of the interesting character designs. She's just like, has, bangs covering her eyes, but still it's something. I identified with the Academy's ideals. Shutan Nutaba is where we're really getting into it, as she's like a mummy from like the chest up. Like, you can see her face with, like, a lot of bandages. Shutan's friends invited Shutan to enroll. By the way, who are you? So we have, like, she's also, like, a third-person girl. Ashibi Mokumokaren, just, like, blotted out compliance violation is all she can say. Shokoho Yorokawa, who has there's a sort of, like, military style to her hat there, I think. Because I can eat for free. Very, very basic. Sunka Umitsubame just laughs, ha ha ha, because the uniforms are cute. And she has these, like, star glasses. Iesuno Nohime, naturally, because of noblesse oblige. Okay, sure. Yeah. Rokaku Yosai Mora, I need to avenge my older brother for my younger brother. Alright, a bit of a random little backstory, I guess. Akina Namasu is just company secret. Alright. Otama Jakashi Mamu Shihishimeki, who has her, like, eyes covered with, like, a camo bandana and, like, literally salutes. There's a code warrior I deeply admire. In deep contrast to the, far more casual, like, the way her, like, her uniform, like, shoulder missing for, like, you can see the undershirt. Shitsuke Koshibai. Well, it seems fun, right? That's why. Soboro Oboro was, like, an eye design on her forehead. I'm motivated by hatred and anger. And number 9... anonymity requested. Morality regulation is the only thing we see on her face. Does not answer. And Iroha goes on, I didn't ask those three, of course. Anyway, what was the point of this assignment? Were you pointing out that unlike me, a boy who strayed into this military school with no dreams or ambitions, the girls each have their own reasons? Kogoe stops them. No, that's not it. What's important is what they told you. Most of them were lying. Okay. I can't say this too loudly, but those girls have a different objective here. And Kogoe is sort of dropping the whole little teaser she dropped at the end of the pilot into Iroha's lap. But put precisely, what all those liars want is the hidden fortune buried deep underground here at Cipher Academy. The 50 billion morgue. So also, like, tying into the whole, does Nisioisin know anything about crypto? Crypto is not like a physical thing. That's the whole point of it. How is it buried here at Cipher Academy? And Iroha is stunned at that. 50 billion morgue? How much is that in yen? Which is finally someone asking the right question. Who cares about the crypto? Hard to say. After all, morgue is a cryptocurrency. Its value fluctuates from one minute to the next. But morgue has special circumstances around it that makes it different from other cryptocurrencies. The principal capital cannot be guaranteed, but no matter how low it may fall, I can assure you it will never be below the median military budget appropriated by developed countries. Can't say that too loudly, though. One morgue will never be below the median military budget. Or, the 50 billion. Because those are two very different things. 50 billion military budgets is a lot of money. Whereas one military budget is a great deal of money, but not as much. And Iroha questions, military budget? What do you mean by principle? A question that cuts to the core indeed. Have you heard of M Fund? It is said that GHQ, General Headquarters of the Allied Powers, confiscated gold and silver valuables from occupied Japan. And to tell the truth, Cipher Academy was established with some of those funds. Okay, I had figured this was a sort of Japanese militarism, but if the Academy was founded with money that the Allies took from occupied Japan, that makes the whole thing a little bit... I'm not quite sure, like, where Isin is going with war and militarism and how that... what exactly he's getting at with that. The rest was put into investments, as operating funds for the Academy, and as prize money to be granted to the school's best code solvers. Alright, but hold on, because this is clearly set in, like, a near future, but still a future. But this is seeming like the funds for Cipher Academy are very new, but also from the war 80 or 90 years ago. Unless the bit in the first title, World War IV will be fought with pen and paper, implies there was a Third World War already? I don't know. Part of the series' backstory we haven't really gotten yet. But Iroha is just sort of a little annoyed at not getting the answer that he actually asked for. I was trying to ask what principle meant, but whatever. Prize money? What's that? It's the first I've heard of it. But Kogoe tells him, it's not the kind of school tradition you can write about it's not the kind of school tradition you can write about in an admissions brochure, but the smart ones are already working their way up to the top of the class, which is something worth spending the military budget on. You see, those glasses, Iroha, are what you might call a pickaxe. He's like dramatically pointing at Iroha, for mining a 50 billion M fortune. It's a secret weapon I developed to outwit all those money-hungry wolves, starting with Kura Toshisai, the heiress to a munitions corporation and a merchant of death. Okay, so this ties into what I sort of called out in the last chapter as the conflict between Toshisai, who deals in weapons of war, and Kogoe, who wants a war that is fought off of the battlefield, like, with the code breakers. And Iroha presses her, sounds like you're saying you're not a money-hungry wolf yourself, Kogoe Horigatogi-san. I'd like to say I'm not, but I also want that money real bad. After all, if I had that kind of money, I could end half the wars in the world right now. Okay. I'm curious by giving, like, I don't know, maybe, you know, wars that are fought over a need for resources. If Kogoe had the money, she would allow countries to have the resources they need and no longer have to go to war over it. I don't know. Possibilities. And Iroha's sort of stunned at that declaration as Kogoe goes on. I wish I could tell you everything, but let's start with what I can do. And that's why I took the offer when I was scouted. By Cipher Academy, and by Class M. So I'm going to call back to Medaka Box real fast, with this idea of Class M being something that scouted her separately. Because it's been several years since I read Medaka Box, but I remember Class 13 being a very important concept throughout that series. And M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. So maybe it's a connection, maybe it's not. Maybe it ties into, like, she talked about the metaverse earlier, is a possibility. Anyway, moving on. We'll just, like, keep that in the back of your mind is my point. Iroha questions, are you being serious? Or are you pulling my leg? A lot of smart people say the same thing. That war is humanity's fate and will always be there. I mean, that's why a school like this exists, right? Forcing people to submit, ganging up on someone to coerce them, even in peacetime. That's what happens all over the world. And of course, he's flashing back to what happened with Toshisai. And you think you can stop that all by yourself? And Kogoe takes Iroha's objection and addresses it. That's why I never said I can get rid of everything. And I never said I could do it on my own. I can only make my dream strategy come true if you join me, Iroha. If you've got no dreams, I'll show you some. We'll start with half, and then we'll get rid of all wars together. Okay, so now I do like this as sort of, I was questioning where the series was going to sort of fall on that discussion of militarism. But setting up the central conflict of being full-on ending war, if Iroha does fully join up with Kogoe, if they are, unabashedly the heroes of this story, that sort of tells us where this series' themes are in the ending of war. We'll see. I don't know. Kogoe just grins. You don't have to give back that pickaxe. In fact, I want someone like you to have it. I hope you'll help me with my treasure hunt. Specifically, taking down those lying classmates and securing the position of class-leading private. Which I'm guessing is just the title for, head of the class. Again, I do feel like it's sort of a nice thing that, we don't have all of the way this school works just sort of plopped in our laps. It's sort of revealed more naturally than just having a narrator come in and describing every single thing about Cipher Academy for 5 pages. Instead, it's sort of brought up in a natural way, and it's, easy to work out what class-leading private means. It's world building done pretty much right. Which, this is Nisioisin. He's been writing these stories for decades. He's a master of his craft. Even if I'm not always a big fan of, what he focuses on in his mastery. But yeah, nice little bit of real casual world building is my point. Kogoe continues, sure, it's a pain, but if you do that, then I can lead you into the depths of Cipher Academy, including Class M, where I belong. So again, Class M is somewhere different from the rest of the school. Maybe as a fully, separate organization, they're all sort of like Kogoe. But Iroha presses, why me? I haven't solved a single puzzle yet without cheating. Do you trust me because I'm the boy who was admitted just to fulfill a quota? And Kogoe, that's not true. This idea that he hasn't solved a single puzzle yet without cheating, he makes some huge leaps, and they're pretty much always right. And that seems to be Kogoe's line here. In the end, a pickaxe is only a pickaxe. It drew the grid lines for you, but it didn't give you the answer. You were smooth. I came up with the code in the cafeteria, so you guessed that Morse code must be involved. And you had 2 options, 1A or 2B, and were able to easily rule out the former. That kind of insight is indispensable in code breaking. Again, the ways in which Iroha is good at this. Unfortunately, though I was able to build that secret weapon, I completely lack the talent you have. Okay, so Kogoe is not a code breaker really at all. And Kogoe tells him, so I've been eager to find a partner. And you, my humble Iroha, are the first treasure that I've dug up at this school. It's not just because of your insight. And your gender has nothing to do with it. The reason I admire you, Iroha, is because you're so naive, you hid me when I was on the run without even asking why. And there's a real, genuine, affection in Kogoe's smile. That it really is that simple for her. Iroha is taken aback at this, display of honesty. And then we cut to the Toshasai gang. As I think this is Yukiko telling her, it's no use. I can't find them anywhere. Horigatoge or Irahazaka. Seems like he was going around asking our classmates all sorts of questions for some reason. Incidentally, quite a few of the students thought Irahazaka was a girl. And Toshasai is silent at that. We have a ... there that feels relevant. That might be a problem for a future code squad. Okay, sure, I don't know why that would be a problem, but okay. And Toshasai walks off. Good grief. Maybe I was a little too overbearing. I only intended to warn him against getting any closer to Kogoe. But right about now, he's probably being ensnared by that little girl's eloquence. Okay. I mean, sure. Again, seeing the sort of conflict, Toshosai does not want Kogoe to have allies, I suppose. And Taiyu questions, are you saying you might be becoming Horigatoge's friend? That would be really bad. And Yukiko also adds in, Iroha probably has no idea what he's helping with or who he's protecting. Indeed, this has lit a real fire under my butt. The more wars that start, the more the value goes up of that war-damaged cryptocurrency, Morg. If our company's technical expert gets that negative legacy of 50 billion, the wars happening around the world could double in the blink of an eye. Oh. If I'm a merchant of death, then Kogoe is a warmonger. To be continued. Okay. So, I'm not going to do chapter 3 right now. I'm going to do that later. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. I said 2 through 3 in the beginning, but like, I'm getting tired. I need to at least take a little bit of a break. And I'm just about out of water. So I'm going to talk about this chapter on its own. And Kogoe. Because apparently, Kogoe is the former technical expert of the what was it, the Kick Attack? Whatever Toshosai's company is. And so Toshosai believes that Kogoe is lying. It's not quite clear if that's true, though that's definitely the image the series sort of, the chapter gives us in its final page. I really do love the kind of, like, the skeleton creature looming over Kogoe there. It's a really nice, like, it's really just a cool visual. But either way, whether Kogoe is being honest or not, whether Kogoe is being honest or not, I am a good deal more confident in this series having a genuine anti-war bent. Because if Kogoe is an antagonist, it's because she secretly wants to double all wars in order to increase the sort of the value of Morg, as it cannot go below what is it? The median military budget of developed nations. I mean, I'd be skeptical of any cryptocurrency being genuinely, like, actually a safe investment under any circumstances, because, you know, crypto kind of sucks. But like, accepting the series premise, accepting all of that, it very much does change how we view Kogoe, but it does not change the sort of thematic underpinnings of the series. Like, you know, whether Kogoe is pro or anti-war also accepts whether or not we see her as an ally or an enemy. Now, what that means, how exactly we put Toshosai in all this, you know, she herself admits to being a merchant of death, so I don't really think she's, like, secretly the anti-war person. She is very much pro-war. As we saw in her initial appearance, she's tired of peace and has made everyone complacent. So I'm not quite sure why she would be anti-Kogoe. Like, the big thing that makes me doubt Toshosai's words about Kogoe is, like, why would Toshosai care? She wants war. She made that clear in her intro. Though also, why would she lie to Yukiko and Taiyu, who are her kind of trusted allies? I don't know. But there is a big old question mark around Kogoe. Whether or not we should trust her or not. Whether or not she is, you know, an agent of peace or an agent of war is something we very much just don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see as the series goes on. That is sort of, you know, the central mystery around her character right now. So yeah, all in all, I'm a little bit more confident in this series than I was after the first chapter. I wasn't quite sure where it was going, and of course it could still go all kinds of places. This is the second chapter in a Weekly Shonen Jump series, so it could go on for either no time at all or a long time. So we'll see. We'll see if Nisioisin can, like, ends up changing you know, in the ways that, like, a series naturally changes as it goes on, how exactly the series' thematic work ends up changing. For now, I'm confident in what it's in the sort of anti-war bent to the series at the start. You know, whether or not Kogoe is as anti-war as she claims to be is a whole other question, but that is tied into how we should see her. Which works for me. It's the way that, like, I'm fine with, like, Eren Yeager being sort of pro-genocide because that... Or not, like, I'm not fine with his beliefs as, like, an objective fact, but I'm fine with Eren as a character having the whole pro-genocide bent he gets at the end because it is the moment of his descent into pure villainy. It's a similar thing with Kogoe here. They're not quite full-on genocide. So yeah, there's a lot here that I'm really, really intrigued with. I also hope we get to see a little bit more of these characters, as these, like, the whole list of classmates, as their character designs are to some extent intriguing. Some of them just feel like they're trying to be, like, unique for the sake of being unique to a certain extent. But I don't know. So, like, you know, with this chapter, there's a whole lot I'm really intrigued by. And, you know, soon enough, I'll read the next chapter, either tonight or tomorrow. But for now, I'm excited to see where this is all going. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!